Dr. Cook. Today is Wednesday, June 24th, 2020, and we're honored to have you here today with Call with Dr. Cook. Welcome, Dr. Cook.
Hey, George. Good to be here.
It's what a great time. We've got a lot of fun things to talk about today. So you got your seatbelt on, you ready?
Oh, hey,
Here
I'm
we
ready
go.
to go.
First and foremost, I wanted to point out that we really get a lot of great feedback from people who are having a lot of success with the Limbic Arc technology. It's literally changing, transforming lives. And it's so fun to hear and to see, particularly the boost that people seem to enjoy the most, at least through the last little while, has been calm and today's immunity.
Makes
Kind of
sense.
an yeah, make interesting combination based on our events going on in the world around us. But it's just fun to be able to see that even during troubled times, we can bring value into people's lives. So it's a great technology. It's fun and exciting, and we love to hear your stories. So thank you for sending those and sharing them with us. Dr. Cook, we've got a lot on our agenda today. I looked down the list and I see 41 new boost ingredients that have been added to our library. 41.
I know. I hope we haven't overdone it.
There's so many fun things that we've got out there, and the library just keeps getting better and better. But as I look through the list, and I won't name all of the boost ingredients, you can certainly take a look at those. But I see things like chondroitin, I see collagen, I see glucosamine. There's some words there that I probably can't pronounce correctly, but it seems like there are a lot of things in there. Devil's claw, and it seems to me that they almost have a little bit of a theme. It seems like they're kind of related. Is that right?
Are you just setting that up, or?
Oh, was that a good setup?
Yeah, that's a great setup. Yeah, we're talking about joint support today, and we have a new info boost called joint support.
Isn't that
And
great?
these ingredients, we added them because we wanted to put them in.
What's interesting is as we look at joint pain, it's a really big deal. There are a lot of people that don't just suffer from joint pain, but actually have severe joint pain. It just is relentless and really hard. It's a challenge for people today. So it's certainly needed, and hopefully we'll learn a little bit more about that and how Limbic Arc might be able to help us.
Well, and that leads us right into this disclaimer. Limbic Arc is not a medical device, and it does not diagnose or treat illness. So if you have rheumatoid arthritis, uh, Limbic Arc is not intended to treat or even prevent rheumatoid arthritis. Our focus with InfoBoost is to improve quality of life. Now, that having been said, we know that uh, joint pain or joint dysfunction of some kind is going to have an impact on your quality of life. And so
Sure.
it's appropriate to talk about this, but we're not talking about it in terms of a diagnostic or a cure.
Well, there are a ton of ingredients that people take and supplements and other things to try and help. Everybody wants to play with the grandkids, or they want to get out and go fishing again, or even things with your hands. And it's just a big deal. And so any kind of
Yeah.
improvement in the quality of life, regardless of where you are, is a step in the right direction.
And George, this leads me to a story I want to tell you. That's one I learned at my mother's knee, or was it some other joint? So
Okay, but boom.
yeah, thanks. Yeah, when I was a kid, I'm going to move right into my slides because I have about 600 of them I've got to get through here in a couple of
Oh,
minutes.
great.
Um, but when I was a kid, my mom said, "Consciously, you're smart, but subconsciously, you're super smart." And I said, "Wow, thanks, Mom, but I have no idea what you're talking about." Now, actually, I have to tell you, my mom never did tell me that, but she could have.
She should
And
have.
and well, and you can say it to everybody. The reason why this is true is because at a conscious level, where in the frontal lobe of our brain, where we do most of our conscious thought processes, we process about 2,000 pieces of information every second. So if you call us a computer, we're a really fast computer. There is a part of our brain located in this area. It's a group of structures that make up what is called the reticular activation system. And one of the purposes of the reticular activation system is to focus our attention and screen out all those things that we don't need to pay conscious attention to. The reason why we need that is because below the level of the reticular activation system, below the level of consciousness, we process over 400 million pieces of information in the same second. So if you think of that in terms of dollars, you're thinking $2,000 a second, but your body's processing $400 million every second. So you're way smarter than you think you are. Now, that having been said, let's move into joint support. So we're talking about using the limbic arc to improve your quality of life. And I like that graphic.
It's not October though. That's okay.
No, but it's kind of cool. We've got a lot of joints. One of the crazy things about our body, or amazing things, is that our body moves. Yeah. And we couldn't move if we didn't have joints. And we have different kinds of joints. This graphic shows us the different kinds of joints that exist in our body. And if we look at a joint up close, you'll see that it involves bones. There are things like cartilage, ligaments, tendons. You got a synovial cavity, you've got a bursa. So a joint is a number of elements that come together. It's not just where the two bones touch or where they don't touch. I guess you don't want your bones to actually touch. You want it to be insulated. But all of these things need to be healthy in order to have a healthy joint. Sometimes our joints give us grief, as you mentioned earlier. A lot of people have chronic pain. And if you can't move, if your joints hurt, it sucks. It affects your quality of life in a big way. The x-ray on the right there, if you look close at it, there's some osteoarthritis going on, and who knows what's going on with the back or the knee pain. Back pain is really a common problem, but that's just usually a joint issue. Not always a joint issue, but it's still part of the process.
And with me, it seems to be like sometimes just in the morning, it just like getting things going and just moving sometimes just takes a little time.
Well, and that can be something like arthritis, or it can be, you just got your body fluids have kind of solidified overnight because you haven't moved much. But it's important to remember that muscles move bones, and there's more to the joint function than just where the two bones touch or where they come together. Okay. And one of the things that we can do is to keep ourselves limber and stretched. This young lady is doing some yoga exercises. She's got the mermaid pose going on the top and the downward dog. I don't think I could do mermaid, but I can do downward dog. I'm not quite as good as she is, though. I can tell you that. And the lotus position there at the bottom, I can handle that. That's pretty straightforward. But yoga is a good exercise, and you don't have to do yoga, but any kind of stretching that you can do will actually improve the health and keep your joints functioning the way we want them to function. Right. The other thing to remember is that all of the components that make up a joint are made up of cells, and our cells, we got a bunch of them. In fact, in our entire body, we've got between 50 and 100 trillion cells. And each of those cells is built to communicate. Each cell has a number of receptors on it, and those receptors are designed to receive signals. The signal is just a packet of information that comes in various forms, but information is what is conveyed by an arrangement of things. So here's an example. Here are some things, and they're arranged in a way that does not convey much. There's just not much information on this page. But if we take those, just lines and shapes. But if we take those and we rearrange them, now we're conveying more information. And it's just the arrangement. So if you say, oh, hey, here's a couple of guys, I wonder what they're looking at. We rearrange the things, and there you go. They're looking at a couple of girls. So information is what is conveyed by an arrangement of things. Now, this is important to the cell because information can be conveyed in multiple ways. There are multiple ways to convey the same information. This photograph of an apple conveys apple. It's an arrangement of things, of pixels. This is a drawing that conveys essentially the same thing. And here's another way to arrange things to convey apple. If you understand Morse code, that spells apple in Morse code. And in a computer, you can create an image of an apple by just stringing together a bunch of ones and zeros in a binary sequence.
And they all mean the same thing.
Yeah, basically, you know, if you can create a physiological effect with information. I can say lemon, and you can start to salivate because you have this sensation of sour, and it triggers the salivary glands.
Right.
I don't have to show you. I don't have to show you a lemon. And if I say to you apple and you're hungry, you know, I could make your stomach might growl or something because just that information creates the physiological reaction. Now, when you get to the cellular level, then this information is an arrangement of things. So let's say you ate an apple or you ate an orange and you had some vitamin C there, and it's getting distributed to your cells. Vitamin C is just an arrangement of molecules and atoms. And so when your cell sees the vitamin, it interprets the arrangement of things, and that's the information that then stimulates the cell to do what it's supposed to do with that vitamin or mineral. So our bodies are built to communicate in a very real sense. Now, if we go back to joint support, let's say that your present reality is knee pain. And when you wake up in the morning, your knees are creaky and it takes a little while for them to warm up and get going. Well, you'd like a future reality to be different than your present reality. You'd really like your future reality to be no knee pain and go dancing and running and anything else, the kind of stuff we used to do when we were kids. But the challenge is we have more than one future reality. We actually have an infinite number. And one of those is a persistence of the knee pain. So depending on what you do, depending on circumstances, depending on the choices you may continue with the knee pain, or you may, at some future time, eliminate the knee pain and not have any pain at all. Well, that's obviously what we're after.
Right.
The things that determine what our future reality is it is or is it are? Anyway, the thing that determines which future reality we experience, it depends on which vector we follow.
Right.
Yeah. So, do you make a change in your diet? Do you make a change in your exercise regimen, et cetera? And depending on those future-focused vectors, determines what your future reality is going to be. Now, with respect to Limbic Arc, we're dealing with computer technology, information technology, and our data is delivered, our information is delivered as, at least it originates as a string of ones and zeros. So I just threw that in. And we'll come back to it in a minute here. But a vector has two characteristics. It has a direction and a distance. And so if you choose the right vector, it'll take you in the right direction. And if you choose the right one, it'll get you where you want to be. You can pick one that might get you halfway there. And that happens all the time.
Or maybe you'll do something not long enough, or
and sometimes things change. And so, it's like, in the last little while, I've started to ride my bike again in a serious kind of way. And I didn't start out by, getting on my bike and riding 100 miles. So, I rode a little bit. And then as time passed, I chose different vectors, and now I'm doing greater distances, but I'm building up to it. So things change, and that's why we want to make adjustments in the vectors that we're riding on as our present reality accommodates the choices we've made. Now
So,
the question then is,
Dr. Cook,
what?
you were a little bit humble there. You didn't say how far you rode your bike, though. I mean, you're not just riding it a little bit. So that's impressive.
Well, yeah, and well, I like riding a bike, George. What can I say? It's a fun thing. I've done it for a long time, so I'm glad I can still, keep my balance. The question is, what vector do I choose? Because there is an infinite number of vectors that we could follow. And with respect to Limbic Arc, the way we've accommodated that is we've taken our library and we put those items into a database in the cloud. Those are called boost ingredients. Sometimes we refer to them as virtual items because all of them have been linked to an actual item. With that database then in the cloud, you can create an account. And when you create the account, you get access. Essentially, you get a library card to go in and check out a book or check out a boost ingredient. And the way that we help you decide what to choose is we've created what we call a Spark scan. And the Spark scan requires two types of real-time biometric input. In other words, we need to have a picture of where you are today at this moment in order to get a unique result from the Spark scan. And so the first thing you do is we do what's called voice analysis. We don't record, well, let me say what that is. I turn on my info boost and then I start to talk. And in this case, I might say, I have knee pain and it drives me crazy. I wake up in the morning and my knees don't work and I have to kind of hobble around, and in about 5 or 10 minutes, I'm okay. But, it's really annoying. Or I could say, I'd like my knees to be healthier. I want to be able to jump and dance and run. See, it doesn't matter how you talk. It doesn't matter if it's positive or negative, as long as you're focused on whatever it is you want your info boost to help you with.
And the words you use, I mean, it doesn't record the words, it records the energy. And the energy.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, the words you say, I should tell you, we've got probably 15 years experience with voice and voice analysis. And in that period of time, we've learned that the words you speak are actually the least significant part of voice. The energy that comes out of your mouth is way more important and way more significant and carries a lot more information than the words. So the Spark scan, the voice analysis, it's not language dependent. You could speak in Spanish or Polish or Russian, it wouldn't matter. The important thing is that you focus on the topic that you want the info boost to help you with. So that's the important thing here.
Okay.
So we record the energy in the voice for about a 10-second period, and then we create a target and we put the target on the screen, and that's the number 2 here, the tactile response. So we show you the target and you touch the target. If it's a touch screen, you touch it. If it's on your computer, you click it with your mouse. And we then keep track of the timing between when we showed you the target and when you touched it. And we do that 5 times. With that information, we then create what's called the Spark. And the Spark is unique. And the Spark is then used to ignite an algorithm that processes the future focused vectors and gives them all a score. So each of those gets a percentage score. It's called an outcome ratio. A high score means that this item, this boost ingredient, you showed, or you got a positive response to it. You then go in and select the items you want. And in the case of joint health, let's say, it might be arnica or chondroitin or white willow bark. Each of those 3 things are in the joint info boost. And each of those, if you took arnica, you would expect to have some kind of pain relief. If you took chondroitin, you would expect to see some kind of support to joints and ligaments. White willow bark is the natural form of aspirin. So it's a pain reliever. So you look at those and you say, oh, those three things make sense. I'm going to use those because I scored high on them. And then you activate the info boost, and the info boost information is then delivered to you through an entanglement process. It's called a field effect. And we don't deliver it to you at a conscious level, although we do send you some reminders at a conscious level. But we deliver the information to you at a subconscious level, the part of you that's the smartest, where you're processing 400 pieces of information, 400 million pieces of information every second. And the goal, the intent, the design of the limbic arc then is to reinforce in a positive way the intent that you've expressed when you spoke into your computer. In this case, we're going to help you with your knee pain.
Right.
We'd like to improve your quality of life as it relates, or as your knee pain relates to your quality of life. That's our objective.
Right.
The cool thing about Limbic Arc is it's not limited just to knee pain. An info boost can help you with every aspect of your life. If you want to have more money, if you want to have less pain, if you want to have better relationships in the family, if you want to be happier, if you want to be able to dance better, anything that has to do with health or strength, those are the things, the icons at the top there. But Limbic Arc is designed to help you with your quality of life.
And there it is in your app, accessible to you all the time to improve your life. It's waiting to give you the information, the data that your body wants, or could use to improve wellness. What an amazing thing. Dr. Cook, thank you so much. Joint support. The info boost is available. Try it out. Use it. Make sure that you're trying these things and seeing how they respond. I'm excited to try it myself, Dr. Cook. Thank you. My knees feel it a little bit. I'm anxious to try it. So,
George, you and I ought to do it on eyes too. I mean, I see you're wearing readers now, and I've got my readers on because I'm so close to my computer screen. I have to happen to see it. So,
so just up close, it's really hard. Hey, but Dr. Cook, if you've got a minute, there are some questions that have come in, and I think that they're really good. I know that we don't have a time to answer all of them, but there are a few that I'd like to ask if you've got just a minute.
Let's do it.
First of all, thanks to all those who submitted questions to Ask Dr. Cook at limbicarc.com. So Anna asks, I've been told that I need to use a spark scan for some info boosts, and not with others. Which info boost should I use a spark scan on?
I actually use it on all of them. Let's talk about the joint support info boost. We have created that info boost, and we've put into it a number of items that have, in the physical sense, have a known impact on joint and joint support.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that that's exactly what your body needs, but if you're looking for joint support, then you ought to look at those items because they have a propensity to give you that kind of support. But what I do is I say, okay, I want a joint support. I go in and I select that info boost, and then I'll run a spark scan in addition. And then what I do is I look at the results on the info boost, and they'll have that percentage, that outcome ratio percentage score.
Yes.
And I'll take maybe the top 5 in that category. And then I click on the tab that says all ingredients, and that shows me everything in the library. And usually what I see there are things that are not included in the info boost that I actually score higher to. And so I'll take then the top maybe 4 or 5 of those items, and I'll include those as well. And that's what I activate as my info boost. Yeah. Now, you don't have to do the spark scan. Let's say that you know that you want white willow bark and arnica. Well, you can just go in and select the joint support info boost, right, and scroll down and turn on arnica and turn on white willow bark and activate it. You don't have to run the spark scan.
Okay. You know, Dr. Cook, related to that, there's a follow-up. Spark scans, InfoBoost can last up to 14 days, but you can do a spark scan every 24 hours. Should you be redoing a spark scan that often?
It, I'm cautious to do that personally. Now I know that there are some people who will run a focus info boost that they turn on in the morning, and they run a calm info boost that they turn on in the evening, and they'll alternate between those two. And I've heard people say, "Boy, it's a great strategy for me. It does a good job." I think you want to be a little careful when you start introducing new information really fast into your field. The reason is because energetically we respond very quickly, but at a tissue level, we don't respond that fast. It takes time for the information from the energy level to get into and affect any kind of a change on the physical level.
Yeah.
And so if we're changing our info boost too quickly, we may find that we're actually giving ourselves, it's kind of like we're uh, stepping on the gas and stepping on the brake, stepping on the gas, and you kind of wear the engine, you wear the car out because you're just jerking it around.
Yeah.
So be careful that you don't jerk it around. But you can experiment with it. It's not like you're gonna, damage yourself before you figure out what works for you.
Well,
But
I
for
like
me,
how, I like how
go
you
ahead.
say how you're specific. You know, you identify the few things that rank the highest, and that's what you focus on. So you're not oversteering the ship. You're putting just the ingredients in that you want. That way, you know what's affecting you. It's a smart
Well,
approach.
and then the way I do it is I'll run what I call my constitutional info boost, and I have that going all the time, and I redo it every 14 days. So I'll create a spark scan, I'll select the top items, and I usually select about 10, 5 to 10, and I will activate that for 14 days. Now, during that 14 days, I might turn on and off different info boosts depending on what's happening, but I always have that constitutional running, and then at the end of 14 days, I do it again. So,
Okay.
uh, so I tend to be a little slower in the way I use Limbic Arc, but I've always got 1, 2, or 3 info boosts going.
Dr. Cook, we're rapidly running out of time. I'm going to hit you a couple of questions kind of fast here.
Okay.
Ray asks, I've got a friend who's considering signing up, but he's concerned that giving the Limbic Arc web app access to his energy could somehow be misused in the future. What
Okay.
are your thoughts? How do they address that concern?
Well, that's a great question, and we get asked that. It's a legitimate question. The answer is, let's talk about voice for a minute. We don't record the voice. We keep the information. We record the energy of the voice, and then we actually then crunch that to make the spark. We don't store any of that input data. The only thing we store is the spark, because that's what we need to ignite this algorithm. The other thing is, you can't really use an info boost in a nefarious way. Let me give you an example, George. If I said to you, sit up straight, that's information, and it may be helpful to you, but you don't have to do anything with it if you don't want to. Yeah. And you're not going to be damaged if I say sit up straight. That's the way the info boost works. The info boost gives you information, but your body, I think, smart enough, it kind of picks and chooses what you need and what you don't need. It ignores what you don't need. So there's really no worry. There's not a problem with that. But it's a legitimate question.
And I would point out as well that Limbic Arc does have a privacy policy, and your information, your data is secure and trusted. We don't share that with anyone.
Correct.
And so just rest assured that that is private with Limbic Arc. I know we're over time. I've got one more quick question.
Okay, I'll be short, I promise.
Janine asks, thank you for all you have done, for all that you are doing and will do. Just wondering if you will be or are investigating adding frequencies as boost ingredients.
That's a good question. I'll try to answer it fast. we are dealing with information. The field effect that we initiate is not a frequency. I know there's technologies out there that talk about, yeah, we send you this frequency or that frequency, and sometimes in homeopathy they talk in terms of frequencies. But frequency is actually a metaphor that is not sufficient. It doesn't give you the depth that the information metaphor will give you. So can we put in a boost ingredient for a frequency? The answer is yes. Yeah, we can do that. And I'm sure we'll do that in the future. But it doesn't mean that we'll turn the limbic arc into a frequency generator.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification. I know that there's some confusion on that, so that helps a lot. I would remind everyone that our next call with Dr. Cook is July 29th. That's going to be Wednesday, again at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. So please mark that on your calendars and share that
already July
with you. Isn't that amazing? It's going so fast.
It's crazy.
We have a great customer success team. And if you have account changes or if you need some help setting up an info boost, visit the contact us section on the website, and we'll be happy to give you a little bit of help. I know that for some, it's a little confusing to get started, and we're more than happy to help you with success on that. Also, we will send out an announcement email tonight. It will also have the replay link for this. We would encourage you to listen again or share it with your friends and your neighbors. This is a great way to listen to Dr. Cook firsthand and hear from the founder. What a great opportunity. And also, if you go on the website of limbicarc.com, at the top, there's a monthly call with Dr. Cook. It's on every page on the website. Just click on the link and you'll be able to see that, or you can go to our YouTube channel, the Limbic Arc YouTube channel, and you can access the videos from that. So it's a great resource for everybody to get the information that you need. So Dr. Cook, thank you again for your time. Thank you. It seems like every time we do this, we learn so much. I appreciate the time that you've taken to help us with our joint support.
All right.
So
happy movement, everybody.
Thanks so much. Until next month. We'll see you.
See you later. Bye.